When you go into social work, whether it be for a bachelor's or a master's, you will have to complete an internship or two. So this video is all about how to survive that internship. Hi everybody, thanks for watching Social Work Scrapbook. In this video, I'm going to share 5 of my top tips to surviving a social work internship, and then I'm going to bring you even more insight because you know I want to connect you to as much social work insight as possible. So I am collaborating in this video with another social worker. He has a new YouTube channel. I'm going to link his video also in the description box below so you can get 5 more of his tips. Let's get started. I am so glad you joined me today, but before I jump into my very first tip, I want to say that if you're watching this video because you've already gotten the internship, maybe you haven't started quite yet, maybe you've already done day 1, congratulations, you are steps away from becoming a social worker. Yay. I don't know if this was your top pick or if you were just kind of pushed into this one. Either way, you have to trust the process. You are learning what you're meant to know right now, and that sounds a little weird, but honestly, you're placed exactly where you need to be. Let's get you into my number 1 tip. Tip number 1 is label those nerves. It's okay to be nervous. I know when I was first starting out, I wanted to come off as the perfect intern. I wanted to know it all. I did not want to look lost. Guess what? It's okay to look lost. You're supposed to look lost. You are not supposed to know what you're doing. You're not the teacher. You're not the field instructor. So take a deep breath. You are in your learning process, and this is a great place to be. Ask a bunch of questions and share with your supervisor on site at field. Share with them what your weaknesses are, what your strengths are, what you hope to learn, and shadow. That's tip number 2. Shadow as much as you possibly can, because then all of a sudden, once week 1, maybe even week 2, if you have a really great supervisor, is over with, the shadowing is done. You will never shadow another social worker in your whole career. And that's a little bit sad because I still kind of wish I could shadow. So take advantage of the ability to shadow social workers, not only your own supervisor, but ask to shadow other social workers that might be on the field, at the field site, at the agency as well. Shadowing is a really great way to look at everyone's styles and create your own style from that. So I recommend that you shadow as much as you possibly can, because then it's gone, poof, in an instant. Tip number 3 is be teachable. This sounds a little silly, but there's method to my crazy random little sayings. Be teachable. What this means is learn, not only from your field instructor and the other social workers at the agency. Learn from your client. Your client has a lot to teach you. You are given cases every day with each client, but more than that, a lot of them have a great insight to share. In social work, your knowledge comes not only from the books, but from the people that you impact. Take notes after sessions. Don't take notes during sessions. It's just one of the things that I do not recommend doing. You want to be fully present in front of your client, but afterwards, take a bunch of notes as to how you were feeling in a session with them, what was impacted, what you trusted, what you didn't trust so much. You're paired with these people for a reason, and you're meant to learn something from them as well. So listen up and listen closely, because each and every moment is a teaching moment, and you want to absorb all those moments. 2 more tips to go. This one, it's a little forgettable. Even for me, I'm like, what is my 4th tip? But it's a good one. My next tip is do not get field placement envy. When you are in your cohort and you have your field, the class that goes along with field, I forget all the names, but when you have that course, it's easy to get field placement envy. That's when you're hearing other cohorts, other students talk about how great and awesome their internship is, how they're being thrown in to this type of case and that type of case, and they're doing all this type of stuff. Field placement envy is common. It happens. It's natural, but just kind of take a step back, because the grass is always greener, and some students that start off with 12 cases on their caseload, blah blah blah, that's not always the best, and some placements will fluctuate as well. Do you like that? I tell my interns that in schools there's a lot of fluctuation. I have a good feel of who the clients are and which families are in most need, but there are some times that the cases just kind of lull and they're kind of quiet, and that's a good thing. And I try to tell interns that it's okay when there's not a lot of action happening. I know it's not dynamic and exciting and it doesn't sound like much, but that's okay. It's okay to have these lulls in your internship, and you might be starting off there, or you might end up there after, you know, a really high spike. So as far as field placement envy, again, trust the process and allow yourself to grow into your field placement wherever it may be. Of course, if you do feel like you are not getting any type of action at all, you haven't been given any cases, and you are in your second year of your master's level, then it's time to advocate for yourself. If you're in your bachelor's level internship, understand this is a general field placement where you're just managing cases. Maybe you might not even have any on your own or any really clinically rich cases quite yet, and that's okay, because everything happens at its own pace. My last tip, and I'm thinking of a comment that I got on one of my videos, and it kind of makes me sad, because lack of communication between supervisor and the intern, when that happens, it's a pet peeve of mine. I like to keep open communication, but of course not all supervisors might be like that. And as I mentioned in my tip before, you may need to advocate for yourself and ask for what you need. That is what your field liaison is there for. Please utilize this person. This person is there as the go-between. That is your social worker, so to speak, if you have to think about it that way. That is your go-between. That's your link between the campus that you're at and your field placement. And if something isn't happening, please utilize that field liaison, because that is their job, that's their role. It's to clear up anything that might be happening, to help open lines of communication with your supervisor so that you're getting the very best education possible, because this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where you decide what type of social worker you want to be. This is where you decide whether you even want to go into social work at all. So please utilize that field liaison so that you get the most out of your educational experience at your field placement. I feel like I didn't give you enough quite there. As far as opening up communication with your supervisor, you may be a little timid to reach out to that field liaison just yet. Some of my really quick advice on that is make sure you are getting weekly supervision. That is what your field instructor agreed to when they took the role of a field instructor. So make sure it's at least 1 hour a week or more if you're lucky. Take your cases and be prepared for those. Any questions you might have, ask them for different readings, different things that they would recommend for you to gain further knowledge in whatever you might be dealing with, whether it be case management questions on depression, on how to connect with families. So those are my top 5 tips for surviving a social work internship. I hope that you found them helpful, and do not forget to visit Donnell's page next, because he has 5 more tips for you. You do not want to miss any of those. I wish I had this when I was in my internship, because oh my gosh, again, like I said, it's not talked about enough, and we have to. If you are starting your internship or have any more questions, please comment below. Let me know where you're interning at. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you have any tips or suggestions, advice, please share them. I am all about building a social work community on YouTube and beyond. Find me on Instagram and Snapchat. Thanks for watching, and I'm wishing you social work success till next time. basic etiquette. Be sure that you are there on time. If you're not going to make it to field or you're going to be a little bit late, shoot them an email, a text, a voicemail, a phone call, and ask them what they prefer, because honestly for me, I prefer a text. When I get my day going, I don't have time always to answer a phone call from an intern. I don't check my emails as often as I would like to, but I do have my district cell phone on me, and if I get a quick text to that, that's my quick way of knowing, you know what, she's going to be